Hello and welcome. Home to some of the most promising nations of the world, Africa is largely a mixed bag of the good, the bad, and the insurgents who have become a major reason for the destruction of lives and livelihood in recent decades. This is Africa This Week, and I'm your guide, Fadishola Shutingwa. We start off the day with earlier in the week. Welcome on board. As doubts linger over any hopes for an election in the DR Congo this year, it was reported on Monday that one major problem for the Kabila government is the continued detention of youth leaders. The youths whose detention recently caused widespread agitations against the government include Jean-Marie Kalong and Silva Mbakayi, even as the seemingly clampdown on dissenting voices continues in the country.
We can see that in Congo there is indeed a pattern of arbitrary arrest. They are consisted in prolonged incommunicado detentions by most of the time the National Intelligence Agency, that is called ANEA. And all the trials are based on trumped-up or illegitimate charges that are violating the right to liberty, freedom of expression, association, and peaceful assembly most of the time.
On Tuesday, former Minister of Agriculture and current President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina, was named this year's World Food Prize laureate. The World Food Prize Foundation said Adesina won the prize for, quote, driving change in African agriculture for more than 25 years and improving food security for millions across the continent, end quote. The foundation also praised Adesina for his achievements as Nigeria's agricultural minister. They include creating programs to make Nigeria self-sufficient in rice production, making cassava a major cash crop, introducing a system that checked corruption in fertilizer distribution, and helping to attract billions of dollars in private sector investments. Adesina is the 46th recipient of the $250,000 award. That's chunky. Well, as the calls for restructuring ring louder in Nigeria, elder statesmen and professionals from the South met in Lagos on Tuesday to consolidate the solidarity in the region. Former diplomat Christopher Kolade and other participants at the meeting agreed on the urgency of dealing with the many agitations that have risen from different parts of the country.
Today, we hear all kinds of noises of people who say, this is not so, this is whatever it is. So, if we don't deal with this situation, it will get worse. So, particularly the elders here, but also the young people with them, have decided that before this thing gets out of control, we should come together once again and identify why we are together.
God created Nigeria with a purpose. That purpose is for Nigeria to become the rallying point and big brother for all black people. And God endowed so much resources to Nigeria to make her be a superpower, so as to raise the dignity and respect of black and African people and all blacks on earth.
This is more or less the think tank of the solidarity of Southern Nigeria. We are doing it in words and in action. After winning the war for restructuring, the idea that we want to set down for that government is being planned here.
Well, on Wednesday, the Red Crescent volunteers recovered the bodies of 24 migrants who washed up in an eastern suburb of Tripoli. Residents in Tajua district said the bodies began washing up at the end of last week. And according to a local Coast Guard official, many had been partially devoured by stray dogs. The toll was expected to increase as the weak boats used to transport the migrants often travel with more than 100 people.
We began recovering bodies after receiving reports from the Libyan Coast Guard. We started on Sunday. The search and recovery is still ongoing. The total number of bodies recovered so far is 24. It was difficult because of the terrain, but thank God, with the efforts of everyone and all the volunteers, we did it.
On Thursday, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA, agreed to help UN member countries on the continent attain the Sustainable Development Goals. It disclosed this at the 4th Policy Dialogue on Development Planning in Africa.
In September 2015, United Nations member states adopted an agenda for sustainable development. This agenda is to be realized through the attainment of 17 development goals alongside 169 targets. Almost 2 years after the SDGs adoption, African countries vary in their domestication of this process into their national development plans. It is the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA's forum on better coordination among the continent's development planners. This year, the high-level policy dialogue is concerned with helping countries like Nigeria better attain the SDGs.
That level of adaptation, of integration, of mainstreaming, we are behind our member states and we help them, the whole UN system, with tools, with capacity development, with expertise, and when need be, part of the financing mobilization also in order to help our member states to be able to meet these goals.
Nigeria's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, is its national development strategy aimed at attaining the SDGs. The authorities welcome UNECA's support, adding that all is in course for the ERGP's success.
SMEs, inclusive growth, competitiveness, all the initiatives that are in that plan will be driven by the budget from 20. Already we have some of them in 2017 budget. So between now and 2020, any budget that will be implemented by the Nigerian government will derive those projects and programs from the national plan.
But economic watchers perceive time already wasted in the 2017 budget's passage and signing could be a clog in the wheel of the ERGP's implementation. This dialogue is to help participants better understand the challenges and opportunities in implementing development plans in tandem with SDGs, among other areas. The SDGs are to help countries build on the experience and lessons learned in their implementation of the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
On Friday, investments in modern farming technology and human capital development were identified as keys to increasing food production in Africa. Speakers at an event organized by the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture to mark 50 years of its existence said the agency will continue to be the preferred partner of African countries towards addressing critical issues of agriculture in the context of national economic development. They also urged African leaders to see agriculture as an engine for growth and development.
Looking at, for instance, the availability, the cost and health status of the CDMs. This is a very critical element that really influences the whole chain. And we have a whole range of technologies that will address this very well. So we hope that working together with the government agencies, we'll be able to ensure that we can export and we can still expand even further on the domestic availability of the yam.
The government is putting this on a top priority to really look for ways to get the capital flowing in the system, to make it available to youth. And one of the comments that was made by the Honorable Minister, I think yesterday, is that it's farmers, small farmers can get loans, but they need to form into groups. They need to form a society and come together to get those loans.
Between 50 and 100 years, we're asking ourselves, what will the food security challenges be as we move forward? What do we need to change, or what do we need to work more on? We need to be more forward-thinking in terms of doing foresight analysis by looking at the critical issues that face us today. And one of the most crucial is this element of climate change. We have to ask ourselves, how is it influencing the way we deliver and the way we produce the food that we need?
And with that, we have come to the end of Earlier in the Week. Up next is Digging Deep, and that will be after this break. So stay with us. Welcome back. This is Africa This Week. Well, these are critical times in Africa and around the world where growing discontent and demands continue to drive political conversations, but not without creating buzzwords like fake news and alternative facts. In Nigeria, the word restructuring now sounds like a hit song, inspired by the concerns of regional marginalization, the inconvenience of national coexistence, and the wake-up call of secessionist agenda in recent weeks. Joining me in the studio to dig deep on Africa This Week is Alfred Kemekpado, Secretary General, Ijaw Youth Council in Nigeria. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Now, what are your thoughts on these growing calls for restructuring?
Basically, like I've said so recently, it is time for us to begin to review and reconsider the Nigerian conversation. You can say it's restructuring today. Some have said it's true federalism yesterday. There was a confab report the other time and other related conversation. But it all brings to the fore that there is need for us to review the Nigerian conversation. There is need for us to review the structure, the political, the economic, the social structure, even along religious line and every other related line, for us to begin to review it and see how convenient and see how better we can prosper ourselves with that conversation.
How do you think we got to this point with the ongoing agitations and hate speeches amongst various ethnic groups?
I think over the years and over the time, leadership has not been sincere to their duties. And that is one of the things that has brought us down here. But as a matter of fact, I don't want to dwell on the negativities, but the truth is, it's high time we begin to look at, like yesterday I said something like, there's this popular understanding that as a person, if you shy away from your responsibility, no matter how you shy away from it, responsibility has a way of coming back with a greater momentum, okay? And if you shy away from it again, it comes back with a greater momentum again. And until you attend to your responsibility, it comes back and subsequently destroys you. Like Christopher Kolade rightly said here, these has come in the form of different conversations in the past. It's just to show that at every point in time, Nigeria should have attended to this. So if we don't attend to this now, it's going to go where I can't really tell. So we need to restructure. But, you know, when this conversation of restructuring comes, I don't want regions and other states to begin to look at it, because for us from the Niger Delta, Ijaw extraction, for example, we'll talk about restructuring, people begin to look at, okay, maybe you want to own your oil to yourself and pay a percentage to the federal government.
I'm sure that's very tempting.
Well, that's very bad. That's not also totally out of it. That's not bad. But what I want to also put straight is that the Nigerian states, all of us need to understand that in every state in this country, God has put prosperity in there. It's just that we have been too lazy to look at what is in there for each and every one of us, okay? And when you also come down to the Niger Delta, I don't want Nigerians to feel that as Ijaw people and as Niger Delta, we're excited about the oil that is being drilled out of that environment. Currently, as we speak, in the confine of restructuring, we are also looking at a cleaner and a greener environment. By that, I mean, as Niger Delta and as Ijaw people, yes, we have the oil resources abundant that is sustaining the country, but we are also looking at how can we move on and have a cleaner, a greener economy like you have in the United Arab Emirates, where you have oil-filled countries that have moved on from oil resource to tourism and other things. So if you look at the Niger Delta very well, we have the seas, we have the oceans, you understand? When you talk about the ocean economy, our real wealth is in our sea, our estuaries, our green farms, okay? We want a cleaner environment. So let nobody, so we need to restructure this country so that we begin to look at the economic structure, the political structure, and begin to do what suits us best according to the regions we occupy. So people should also should get to know. Look at the herdsmen going around and causing problems. In short, herds trade is actually one of the trade that scoops real income for countries like Brazil, India. In short, research has also shown that Nigeria has not even been able to catch up with the beef consumption in this country. So you see, there are countries and there are states who live on these things. So we need to begin to look at these things and begin to exist with our comparative advantage, with the structures we have, and make this so-called big head called federal government. When I say big head, this heavy head that wants to control Sagbama local government from Abuja, it doesn't work. We need to begin to, you know, go away and operate something that sounds like true federalism, if not totally true federalism.
Interesting perspective. Well, some believe that Nigeria's current system is good, only marred by poor leadership. Do you think the fight should be against bad governance rather than restructuring?
Now, you can't take away governance from the structure of governance anywhere in the world. The reason why governance is good in America, if you want to take me there, is that they operate a true federalism. If you go to the Britain, they have their parliamentary system. So you can't take away governance from restructuring. Restructuring will make us will increase our accountability to our environment, to our peculiarities, and to our people. Do you get what I mean? When we talk about restructuring, our leadership, as you just mentioned, everything is inclusive in one. Okay, you know, we need to restructure our security system, our police system, whatever you call it. So you can take away one from the other. But however, that is not to deflate the fact that we have had bad leadership problems. We have had presidents who didn't perform close to as we had hoped for. We have governors, local government chairmen, but in all of these things, it's in the structure. That's why I say that whether you call it true federalism, restructuring, confab report, or anything, we need to put the Nigerian conversation on the deck. It's tempting for me to also mention that we need to begin to also restructure how we fight corruption. Indeed. We have not asked ourselves pertinent questions.
Indeed, and that brings me to my next question, because while clamoring for restructuring at the center, how well are Nigerians holding their governors and local leaders accountable?
Nigerians should be encouraged, okay, to hold their local leaders accountable, okay, through the ballots, and that's where institutions like the INEC comes in, you know. We've heard about the card readers, we've heard about trying to make elections decent. INEC has a total responsibility to make our votes count the way they are. Not like what we had, without disregard to any region. Prejudice. Not like without prejudice. You know, not like the last elections where war-torn areas that people were totally driven out, voted almost 100%, more than where people had rest, you understand? So now for us to hold leadership accountable, I mean at the political level, you understand, institutions like the INEC will now have to subscribe to the kind of technology that will make, you know, votes accountable. Leaders begin to ride on the basis of their manifesto, not because of how much they can dole out during election, as we saw in the social media in some of these recent states where electorates were paid. Nigerians need to now hold leadership accountable for what you understand about the issues and what you are coming to offer. And let me say, Nigerians need to now look more at the young people to lead the country, because even some of these respected old people who are doing all of these things to put us in this shit, go to their private companies and their businesses. They get young people to lead them. So if they know young people are good and young people can make stuffs productive in their private ventures, they should also realize that the young people can make the country. So we need to look at the age bracket. Recently, you've heard of, you know the president of France, Macron, it's 39, and a whole lot of that. So we need to begin to check. Maybe the restructuring should also go into the age bracket for elected position. Probably we should say if you're above 50, don't contest for president.
Don't contest for president.
Maybe. Anyway. I'm not saying that's what it is. Maybe.
I have to cut you there now. You are a youth leader, at least. So what would you propose as the best options to resolving this growing agitations?
The best option is to keep the conversation on the deck and keep it sincere, keep it straightforward, and have an open mind, and avoid reckless hate speeches. Also, beyond the hate speeches, we shouldn't make reckless, disrespectful speeches. Recently, about 2 days ago, I heard some reckless speeches from a governor in the north. I don't want to mention his name, but we should avoid such reckless conversations. We should keep the pedal on saying that which is positive, that will take us from the point we are, which is obviously not good, to a point that is better than this, that is subject to review, that will take us to better points.
But let me ask you now, and how feasible are all these calls for restructuring, going by the political will on the part of the leaders to actually make Nigeria better for all?
How do you mean?
In terms that, I mean, do Nigerian leaders have the political will to actually do this?
Of course they do. They should have the political will, except they are not willing to exercise it. I don't know what political will they need for all of us to sincerely come to the table and begin to discuss the opening of our constitution that says, we the people of Nigeria. So we the people of Nigeria need to look at the Nigerian state again. As a matter of fact, the ruling party today, I think one of the key things in their manifesto is to review this whole structure of the country. So they should play out their manifesto. They should be accountable to their manifesto. So that is what it is. So there is no extra political will anywhere. It's just the willingness to sacrifice and do the right thing. So I think they do. They should do. All they need to do is to exercise that will that they have.
All right. Now, how confident are you that this restructuring plan will put an end to the many problems facing the Nigerian society?
I can practically say it could put an end, but it will ameliorate it. It's going to keep the conversation going. You see, even in advanced countries, even in the competitive democracies like America and other, nothing is sacrosanct. You know, when Obama talks, it talks about the creed, it talks about the ideals. The rules can change, but you keep them on the value of sincerity, on the principles of integrity, fairness, equity, justice. As long as we put the conversation on the table, it may not solve all of our problems today, but it's definitely going to tickle the conversation that is subject to review, that will create a balance that will take us from the point we are to another point, to another point, to another point. It gets better until we leave the system for others to continue to review. That's the essence of policy. That's the essence of a country. That's the essence of a democracy. That's why we should be talking and not to tie ourselves to old practices that are obviously not working.
Very interesting perspectives. Alfred Kamekpado, youth leader in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. Many thanks for joining me on Africa This Week.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Nigeria finds itself at crossroads with emerging political realities, ensuring that dialogue is necessary and reform is inevitable. While restructuring looks like the most important tool in the kit to reawaken and reshape national consciousness, one can only hope that in the end, Nigeria becomes better for it. I have been your guide, Fadeshola Shotingwa. Many thanks for watching and bye for now.